Are you curious about dynamic arrays in Excel? First, we need to understand how formulas worked before. Generally speaking, in pre-dynamic Excel, one formula returned an output to one cell. Even array or CSV formulas required advanced knowledge of the size of the output range. In dynamic Excel, we're not restricted by that rule. Excel will automatically output a multi-value dynamic range if that's the result of your formula. Now, as far as availability is concerned, dynamic arrays aren't available in Excel versions before Excel 365. So if you have Excel 2019, unfortunately, you don't have dynamic arrays. But dynamic arrays and formulas are available in Excel Online. Here's what you'll notice right off the bat with dynamic arrays. Spill behavior. Now, when a formula results in multiple values, the dynamic array environment automatically returns all those values into multiple cells. This behavior is called spilling, and the output area is called the spill range. Spilling is completely new with Excel 365. When the source data changes, the spilled range will immediately update, both the values and even the dimension of the spill area if necessary, so it's dynamic in that sense too. Spill behavior reduces the need for absolute and relative references, and it even reduces the need for copying formulas in a data set. Now, just like with CSV formulas, only the first cell in the spill area is editable. Formulas in the other cells will appear grayed out or ghosted, and they can't be modified. And here's another thing you'll notice. You can use the hash or spill range operator to refer to the spill range. You might also start seeing the @ symbol a bit more often. In the dynamic array environment, it's called the implicit intersection operator. The @ symbol means that you're referring to a cell in the same row as the formula. So it basically forces the formula to return a single value. Let's apply the implicit operator here and see what happens. It forces the formula to return a single value, and that's the uppermost value. If you have Excel 365, sometimes you'll open a file that was created in an older version, and you'll see that implicit intersection operator that it was automatically triggered. Well, of course, the older version can only return one value to each cell. So for backward compatibility, Excel inserted the @ symbol in the background, which you now see in Excel 365. If you remove that implicit intersection operator, then you'll get a dynamic spill, and if you later reopen that file in the older Excel version, it will show up as a CSV or array formula. Dynamic arrays also make existing formulas and functions easier to work with too. In this example, we just want to calculate 15% of each price tag. In the old days, we'd create the first formula like this, times 15%, and then we'd copy the formula to the remaining cells. But with dynamic arrays, all we have to do is reference the entire range we're working with, like this, enter the formula, and hit enter. And you can see that the result is spilled to the entire output area. Here are a few error messages that you might come across while working with dynamic arrays. Maybe you tried to enter this formula, and you got an error message that said spill. You can click on the little error flag to see what the problem is. It says that a cell that we need to spill data into isn't blank. So somewhere here, we have a cell that has values in it. Well, it just so happens that I typed a space here, but that's not so easy to find. All you need to do is to click on the drop-down arrow for the contextual menu. And then you can ask Excel to select the obstructing cells. Now you know this is the cell that's causing the problem. Hit delete, and then the result spills as it should. Sometimes you'll see a spill error and there really isn't any obstructing cell. The error message here says we can't spill within a table. And that is a little surprising that Excel tables do not support spill behavior at this time. So if you attempt to use dynamic functions or formulas in an Excel table, you'll also get a spill error. The only way to change that is to change the type of formula you enter or to convert your table to a range. And then you'll get the results that you want. Here's another type of error you might see. Let's say we're trying to filter this array by displaying all the records where the price is greater than $50. And now we get a calc error. The reason for this error is that empty arrays are not supported. So we see that error message here, and what it means is that any formula that results in an empty array will return this error. So Excel found no records to display here. For the filter function, this could be avoided by using an if_empty argument, which is optional, but we could say if this formula results in an empty array, display no records. There's another type of error message that you might see, which is, let's say we've copied the values in this array over here. So now they've spilled in the D2 to E6 range, but we want to sort this. Let's say we want to sort this in the reverse order. So we go to Data, and we want to sort our data from Z to A, largest to smallest order. Well, the error message we get is that we can't change part of an array. And this is because of the familiar principle that we can't change part of an array formula similar to the old CSE formulas. To sort a spill range, what we should do instead is to use the sort or sort by function around the formula that created the spill range. So we need to get in front of this formula here and use sort. And we're sorting this array. We want to sort by the first column. So our sort index will be 1. And the sort order, we want to sort from largest to smallest. So that's descending order. We use -1. And now it's sorted in the reverse order. So these are just a few of the more common error messages that you'll see with dynamic arrays. And there are 8 new dynamic array functions that come with dynamic array characteristics built in, meaning these functions are built to return dynamic ranges. Here are the names of the functions: filter, rand array, sequence, sort, sort by, unique, XLOOKUP, and XMatch. You can look out for our videos explaining how to use these functions. So that was your introduction to Excel dynamic arrays. This is a really big change in the way Excel formulas work. If you've already started working in this environment, tell us how you feel. Do you like dynamic arrays? What don't you like about them? If you haven't started using dynamic arrays, we also want to hear from you. What's holding you back? How do you like this introduction that we put together for you? Give us your feedback in the comments below.
Ready to learn more about Microsoft Excel? Then check out the full course on GoSkills.com. Click the link in the description.